for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. And, at Curtis and Son Funeral Home since the mid-'70s. They have been working with families here in East Central Alabama for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremations. It's Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Funeral service for Philip Clark Crow, age 68, of Childersburg, will be Friday at 1 o'clock in Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, with the Reverend Paul Hickman officiating. Burial in the Green Hill Memorial Gardens. Visitation 11 until 1 o'clock at the funeral home, also on Friday. Mr. Crow died February 23rd at Grandview Medical Center in Birmingham. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, directing. And Mr. Daniel Sims died at Coosa Valley Medical Center on Wednesday. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, will announce the arrangements. Willie Elizabeth Jean Harmon, age 73, died February the 23rd. Funeral arrangements to be announced at a later date by Terry's Metropolitan Mortuary in Talladega. In other obituary news, funeral arrangements to be announced for Devecius Barclay, age 72. Those arrangements to be announced by S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory in Talladega. Funeral service for Vivian Brown will be today at 11 a.m. from Curtis and Son North, with burial in the Pine Hill Cemetery in Talladega. Online condolences at curtisandsonfh.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing that service. Celebration of life and graveside service for Earlene Green Chapman, age 69, is Friday at 11:30 from Corinth Baptist Church Cemetery in Sylacauga, with Reverend Clifton Cook officiating. Ms. Chapman died February 22nd at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Online condolences at communityfuneralhome.org. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga, directing. Celebration remembering the life of Mr. Timothy Miller Sr., age 65, is today at 1 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home in Talladega, with the Reverend Anthony Chapman Sr. officiating. Interment in the Alabama National Cemetery. Public viewing for Mr. Miller is today from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. at the funeral home, S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory, Talladega, directing. Thomas Keith Stevens, known as Tommy, age 63, of Sylacauga, died February the 18th. Memorial service was held on Sunday at Knollwood Presbyterian Church. Radley Smith Funeral Home in Sylacauga directed that service. Memorial service for Timothy Towton, age 65, will be Saturday at 11:30 from Bethany United Methodist Church. Mr. Towton, a graduate of B.B. Comer High School and a veteran of the U.S. Navy. In other obituary news this morning, funeral service for Mrs. Wilma June Mann, age 78, of Goodwater, is today at 1 o'clock from the Chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Minister James Cullins officiating. Burial in the Smyrna Cemetery. Mrs. Mann died Monday, February 22nd at her residence. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. Radley Funeral Home directing. Betty Pope, age 85, died February 23rd. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga announcing the arrangements. Funeral service for Walter Eugene Farmer, age 93, is this morning at 11 o'clock. Graveside service at Oak Hill Cemetery in Talladega with military honors. Jack Washington will officiate. The family receiving friends this morning, 10 until 10:30 at the funeral home. Ursery Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Graveside service for Mary Elizabeth Gunter is today at 2 o'clock from Midway Memory Garden Cemetery with Brother Roger Gunter officiating. The family receiving friends, noon until 1:30 at Midway Memory Gardens Funeral Home. Mrs. Gunter died February 22nd at her residence. Due to COVID-19, the family asks that everyone please wear face masks and use social distancing. Midway Memory Gardens Funeral Home in Talladega in charge of the arrangements. That's a look at obituaries this morning, brought to you by Curtis and Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga. And the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Call 256-245-4361.